Welcome back. I'm Mark Cantrell, and this is another episode of Fishing Impossible. So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about saving a little bit of money and still being able to enjoy this great sport. As everyone knows, fishing is not the cheapest sport that there is. You can spend an entire week's paycheck on just one little rod and reel combo. Well, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather go fishing than having to spend all my money on fishing gear and not be able to use it. So I'm going to give you a few tips today that'll help save a little bit of money and still will allow you to have a pleasurable experience. So first off, we'll start with rod and reels. There's thousands of rod and reel combos out there. You can spend anywhere from $50 to $500 on just a reel alone. Personally, I would rather spend that $500 buying a lot of rod and reel combos instead of just one reel. So I'm going to dive in to a couple of the companies that make quality products at a very substandard price. So my first one, and this is going to be my favorite, is Lews. Lews, it seems like every single thing that they touch is gold. This combo I have in my hand right here, this Xfinity, I think I paid $70 for this. It was on sale. Right now it retails, I believe it's $89, but that's for the reel and the rod, not just one component. So you go buy this and you're pretty much just ready to jump out on the water, throw a little line on there, and you are good to go. The cool thing about this, for one, it comes in a high gear ratio. The rods are more standardized. You don't have as many options to choose from. So this is a 6'10" medium heavy, and the options just aren't there. So you can't just be like, I want a 7 foot 4.5. You know, that option's not there. But if you take a couple of my tips, you can make pretty much any rod usable for what you need to use it for. There are some exceptions, throwing big swim baits and whatnot. But for instance, this 6'10" medium heavy that I have, I use it primarily as a spinnerbait, swim jig, chatterbait rod. When I first started using it, I was not actually setting the hook fully into fish, and what I was using 65-pound braid, and that was going to a 17-pound fluorocarbon leader. My leader was pretty long, and so what was happening is it doesn't have quite enough backbone to set that fluorocarbon leader into the fish's mouth like it should. So that fluorocarbon, while it stretches less than monofilament, it does still have a little bit of stretch. And then when you add that to the fact that this thing does not have much backbone, I was not getting very good hook sets. But in order to, I love the reel, and I like the rod too, and I really wanted to make it work. So what I did is, since I fish it with primarily moving baits, I just switched this up to straight 65-pound braid. Have not had a problem with hook sets since. There was another option that I had that is also a low cost one, and that's the Lews American Hero combo. This one I can run braid to a leader with and still throw those same kinds of baits. It's got it's a little bit harder, a little less give on the tip than the Xfinity has, and that allows me to be able to set the hook even at a long cast. Allows me to set the hook in and get those fish to the boat. So that brings me on to my next tip. My next tip is how to save money on fishing line. If you guys have went and bought fishing line anytime in the recent past, you know fluorocarbon is no joke. It's the real deal. I'm not gonna lie. It is good. It's the refractivity index of it is pretty much the same as water, and so it pretty much goes invisible when it hits the water. However, it comes with a pretty hefty price tag. So what I do to kind of mitigate some of those costs is I spool up all of my reels with straight braid. So the braid, it lasts essentially forever. If it starts getting worn out, you can actually flip it over and re-spool it backwards, and then you got fresh braid on again. But I don't hardly ever run into that problem. So what I do is I actually tie braid to a leader when I do want to have the good benefits of a fluorocarbon or even a monofilament. I tie braid to a leader, and I will make a video of how to do this in the future, but right now I'm just going to tell you what it is. I tie that with an FG knot. Super slim knot, slides through my guides just fine, doesn't really get hung up very much, and it is super strong. I have not lost a single fish due to my leader connection here. So once it's got a little bit of a learning curve to it. It's a little bit difficult to tie, but once you get the FG knot down, you will never turn back, because it is the ultimate knot for tying leaders. A lot of guys will throw out the Albright knot and uni to uni, other stuff like that. They pale in comparison, in all honesty. So you can save a ton of money by just having braid backing on here, and then just use short fluorocarbon leaders. The deeper the water you're fishing and the slower your presentation that you're fishing, the longer of a leader you will want. So if I'm fishing in 5 feet of water, well, you don't need but maybe 5 to 10 foot leader. If you're fishing in 20 feet of water, well, you might want to throw a good 20 yards of leader material in there. And that's just because when you're reeling it back to the boat, your line's going to be at an angle, and so the amount of line that's in the water could spook the fish if you run too short of a leader length. Now, like I said, that's how you can kind of make the powers of your rods fit whatever you want to do, and you can go the other way with that too. So say your rod's really stiff and you're fishing a treble hook bait. So basically you're going to straighten out that treble hook if you apply too much pressure. However, if you run a monofilament leader and make it a little bit long, that monofilament's going to have stretch, and that'll make up for the fact that your rod itself does not have any give. Okay, so so those are both Lews. I've got a bunch of Lews rods and reels. The reels are top notch. Their rods, you can find better rods. As far as the combos, I'm not sure if you're ever going to find a better combo for the price. But Dobbins makes a really good rod, and you can team up your Lews onto a Dobbins rod. Dobbins has a whole bunch of rods in the $80 to $120 ballpark, and they are phenomenal rods. All right, and then besides Lews, SLX by Shimano is a fantastic reel. I absolutely love the reel. I got the rod with it, the SLX rod. I'm not as much of a fan as the rod as I am this reel. This reel is legit, like no joke. It's a $100 reel, and man, this thing is buttery smooth. And I've used it for about 4 months now. Haven't had a single problem with it. I'll let you know as it goes. These Lews, on the other hand, I've used these Lews rod and reel combos that I've showed you. I've used them for a full season, and I put the hurt on some rod and reel combos just to let you know. And that Orange Xfinity has been my workhorse this year. I have reeled in countless fish on that reel alone, that rod and reel. I've got a whole bunch of other Lews reels that weren't bought as a combo. They were just bought as just a reel in the 50 to 80 ballpark range, and man, I haven't had a single problem with them. I've got one Lews reel that I've had for the past like 6 years, and it hasn't had a lick of problems. Sorry, let me deal with this spider web here real quick that's blowing in on me. Well, to transition away from the rod and reels, so we've got a whole bunch of bait companies that are just dirt cheap. The one that comes to mind is Zoom. Zoom cannot make a product, in my mind, that isn't worth buying. Every single thing that they touch turns to gold, I swear, and they charge next to nothing for them. So get yourself some some Zoom soft plastics, go get a couple hooks, and you're set up, and you didn't break the bank in order to go fishing today. Like I said, Zoom makes a million different soft plastics in every imaginable color you can think of, and they sell them to you for less than $3 a pack. So it's really hard to find a company that can beat Zoom's awesome price and awesome bait categories. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. I got the brush hog, which is just a phenomenal creature bait. I use these speed crawls right here. These are all my trailers that I use for everything, whether it be chatterbaits, jigs, or even just on a shaky head, you can throw this speed crawl. And like I said, it's next to nothing to purchase these things. Another one would be these. The Oil Monster is one of my all-time favorite worms. It's a 10-inch worm, and it just flat gets bit. And like I said, you're not breaking the bank, and it doesn't hurt you when a fish rips off a tail or something like that. It doesn't bother you at all, because that bait costs like 20 cents or something. So the Ultra Vibe Speed Worm is a great one. Transitioning over into a couple different companies, Reaction Innovations, seems like every single thing that they put out is pure gold. There's a lot of these companies that just can't do any wrong, it doesn't seem like. So when you're wanting to find a flipping bait or something, you can grab this little dude right here. It's this little sweet beaver, kind of a do-nothing bait, but great for flipping and pitching. Another company would be Strike King. Strike King makes some stuff that are a little bit more expensive on some of their stuff, but everything that has the Rage Tail mark on there it is legit. So definitely go try some of that stuff out, and you can't go wrong. Another thing that Walmart started selling, these things are too cool. So Strike King has this jig that's in a package. It comes with 2 or 3 trailers depending upon which one you buy, and so these things are like $2 for a package. And so for this $2, if I can get it open, for this $2 you get this football jig here, which is a 1/2 ounce, I believe, yeah, 1/2 ounce football jig, and then you get 2 Rage Crawls, which Rage Crawls are a phenomenal jig trailer. They kick and flop all over the place. So for $2 you get a jig and the trailers to be able to go out and fish it this very day. That's an offer that's hard to beat. And like I said, I found those at Walmart. I'm not sure if all the Walmarts carry them or not, but I did find those at Walmart, and that's just, you can't even buy just a jig for that price. Most jigs run you about $5. So I definitely recommend going and trying to get those. They don't have the size options like you would have if you bought a different kind of jig. So however, the 1/2 ounce football jig, that's your do everything size. So one jig fits them all kind of thing. They also have this pro model jig, which is basically like a flipping jig. It comes in 3/8 ounce, which is also just a do everything size. It also comes with 2 Rage Crawl trailers. For under $2, you just cannot beat that. Proceeding on, Walmart themselves sell these spinnerbaits. This little spinnerbait, it is a fish getter, man. It costs a whole whopping $1, and you can go fish yourself a spinnerbait. It's got living rubber skirt, which you can't even hardly find on your high dollar spinnerbaits. And they've got a whole like seven or 8 different varieties of this spinnerbait, and all different kind of colors and stuff, and that is a great option. Another great option be at Academy. They sell the I believe it's called Wahoo Spinnerbaits. There you get a lot better color selection, a lot different blade combinations, and there I believe it's $2 or $2.50 for a spinnerbait. Still a great deal, a whole lot better than spending $8 or $9 on just a spinnerbait alone. And man, you can just, this color in particular right here, this is great for farm ponds. I have done so good in ponds with this color, it's not even funny. Moving on, the lipless crankbaits. One of the best lipless crankbaits you can buy is one of the cheapest crankbaits you can buy, a little cotton cordell spot. That little guy right there will tear up some fish, and it will not break the bank doing it. It's one that you get it hung up and you almost think that it's a better idea to just break this dude off than go ruin the spot and drive your boat up in there, because it's that cheap. The only thing I will say about these is the hooks that they come with are complete garbage. So immediately throw those out, switch them out. I've got triple grips on here. And then that bait is solid. Even the Bill Lewis rattle traps are really not very expensive. They're about twice the price of the spot remover, but they're really not very expensive either, and they're good baits, and they started coming with good hooks on them too. I know they started putting triple grips on those. So go out and get yourself some cotton cordell spot removers. I mean, these things are awesome. And when you want to put new hooks on them, I found a guy on eBay who sells bulk hooks for I mean, next to nothing. And so pick yourself up either some triple grips or some straight shanks, however you want to do it, and get to work. Well, so now that we know about rods and reels and a couple of different bait options, there's a lot more bait options, and I'll give you guys some more in the future, but video's already going a little bit long, so I'm just going to touch on one more base real quick. You don't need to buy every color combination possible. In all honesty, 3 colors and you have a pretty solid base. And so once you get those 3 colors, then you can get a different bait with the same 3 colors, and then you're actually broadening your soft plastic horizons, if you will. So the 3 colors that I would recommend you getting: green pumpkin. If you don't get any other color, get green pumpkin. Green pumpkin always works everywhere. It's just the deal. A lot of people swear by black and blue, and that is going to be my next one. It doesn't necessarily have to be black and blue. It can be all black. It can be black and blue. It can be black and purple. It can be June bug. It can be just straight blue. Any of those, what it is it's just a silhouette in the water, essentially. Sometimes that blue flake will help you get a couple more bites because they throw off a little flash down deep or whatever, but some form of black is the next one. And now my last color is going to be a little bit of an untraditional color, but I'll explain it as I get in there. So my last color that I would choose would be a white. Now, white, you say? Actually, I love to throw just a plain white soft plastic, in all honesty. Anytime the fish are eating shad, anything like that, white just gets them. White gets them when you're fishing on beds, so you can see it on the beds. White is one of my favorite colors to throw, but that's not why I'm telling you to get white. The reason I'm telling you to get white is every color, can be any color. So you just go over to Walmart, pick yourself up a big assortment of Sharpie markers. So now you see, like, you see a lizard on the shore. He's got, well, what do we say, a little black head on him, maybe black back, maybe he's got a little chartreuse on his belly, maybe a little red or something. So we got the chartreuse here. Throw some of that down there on his belly. You can make white any color you want to, and you can talk about matching the hatch. Now, yeah, that's not pretty, but I just did it real quick for the video. But you can turn white into anything you want. You can get some dip and dye, just dip your tail into chartreuse, dip it into orange, dip the whole body into chartreuse, and then paint a black back on the top of it. You can do anything. Not only that, but these Sharpies work for other instances. If you have Sharpies and you get a crankbait, well, say you want that black to come down a little bit further, you Sharpie it right on up. So now you can see the black even from the side. Sorry, my kid's over here doing his chores. Who'd have thought? He'll never do his chores, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a video and boom, chore time. But so that pretty much does it. I do have a lot more stuff, but like I said, this video is running a little long, so I'm gonna cut it off here. But if you have any more questions, or if you want me to expand on any of this stuff that I've started talking about today, feel free to drop a comment down there. I appreciate everybody who's liked and subscribed so far. If you could help spread the word and we can get this page to grow a little bit, then be able to bring a whole bunch more stuff like this to you. So I'll have some links down below this video, and go out there and catch some fish, and don't spend a lot of money doing it. Thank you.